The third concept is the concept that deals with bureaucracy, or the beast of burden. First, we need a definition, and it's going to be their definition. A bureaucracy is any group of people numbering more than 12 anywhere in the process of doing anything. That sounds easy enough. You need more than 12 people. They need to be doing something. Anything? Yes, they say. That is the first problem with a bureaucracy. Most people don't recognize one when they're dealing with it. We all know the City Hall is a bureaucracy, but is your child's school one? Is the grocery store one? Is your work one? The bank? The church? Yes, more than 12 people doing something. Now your view of a bureaucracy has broadened. Keep thinking about it and you'll begin to see the scope of the problem. That is one definition. Now we come to the second definition of a bureaucracy. Most people think it's a system which allows us to get things done. In truth, a bureaucracy is a living, thinking, growing entity. What is this? Do they want us to believe that a bureaucracy is alive, thinking, and can grow like an animal? That is exactly what we are telling you. It becomes more than the sum total of those people who are composed in it or working in it. It desires to live, grow, and reproduce just like any living thing. Does that change your view of a bureaucracy? Its gift to man is that it can accomplish great projects with greater efficiency and economy than any other system. That's its benefit. Its curse, it can and it will go its own way if left uncontrolled. The bigger it is, the harder it is to control. If left to its own control, it will get bigger and it will gain more control of its operation. Its aim is to gain its own life and direction. Its aim is not always to the benefit of man. In fact, if left to its own, a bureaucracy will always move away from man's best interest and toward its growth and expansion. It has its own morality, its own set of rules, and they don't include the preservation of mankind in any form other than servitude. Ooh. A bureaucracy will go its own way and it will make man serve it, and it will not serve man any longer if left undirected. They go on. Those who enter a bureaucracy as members become more than the person working there. They become part of the body of the beast. If the beast is functioning as it was designed to, the worker can be proud of their contribution. Think about that. If, on the other hand, the beast has been freed and it's no longer in man's control, those who work there are forced to do things as part of the body they would never do as individuals. If they refuse, the beast will get rid of them, much as our body gets rid of malfunctioning cells. Are we telling you the truth? If you work for a bureaucracy and it's out of control, you know we are. If not, ask someone you know or try dealing with your government. You will soon see that what we're saying is true. A bureaucracy holds its survival and growth to be the highest goal. An uncontrolled bureaucracy holds its survival and growth to be the highest goal. That leads man to accomplish the little and sometimes big atrocities necessary for its survival. Do you hear the fallen one anywhere in there? It is. Is there more to know about this beast? The answer is yes. The next is just as strange a concept as the last, and just as obvious when you see it. The concept? The most skilled bureaucrat will always rise to the top position in a bureaucracy. Now, that seems pretty obvious, and one might wonder why they brought it up. They say the key here is the most skilled bureaucrat. We didn't say the most qualified for the task. We said the most skilled bureaucrat. If you don't get it yet, try this. A bureaucracy is more than 12 people doing something. The top person in the bureaucracy is there not because he has the top or best abilities for the job, whatever the bureaucracy is, but because he's the most skilled bureaucrat. Okay, what's the point? The church is a bureaucracy. Uh, they say, of course, we aren't talking about your church. There's always an exception. But you know for sure that what we say is true about a lot of churches, right? The same concept holds true in all bureaucracies, big and small, for business, for pleasure, for whatever. The most skilled bureaucrat, not the most qualified bureaucrat, will be at the top of the bureaucracy. Now, we can begin to work on the control of the beast because we understand, well, one of the major problems is the top guy isn't the most qualified to be at the top. He's just the best bureaucrat. So they say, forget all you think you know about controlling the beast bureaucracy as you saw it before. You already know how frustrating that can be. Now see it as the beast it is. The control of a bureaucracy is quite simple. If it fails to accomplish predefined objectives, cut off its head. They say, all right, don't get excited. In truth, we could have said replace its head, but you will remember cut off its head better. Look at what was said. If it fails to accomplish the predefined objectives, cut its head off. Here's where we fail to control, and here's where the effort must be made. There are two parts to this control. The first, we must have a predefined objective. You must have in writing what you expect a bureaucracy to do. Clear, defined outcome decided before the bureaucracy starts its task. That means that you have to do some work before you hand the task over to that beast. Then, as the task progresses, watch for successful accomplishment of each step. Forget trying to control every move and person in a bureaucracy. Can't be done from the outside. Let the beast function as it would. The control comes from the knowledge that its head will roll if the beast fails. What does that mean? Those who made the wrong decision will lose their job. That's what it means. That means replacing those who are making decisions, even if it means throwing out and replacing the whole bureaucracy and starting over again in the extreme. Don't mess with the details. Cut the head off. We don't mean trading top positions with other failures either. We mean firing the head of a bureaucracy, the head who failed, and placing the fact that he or she was fired by law in all their applications for future jobs. How do we do that? We place a warning tag on their Social Security number, which every employee must access in order to hire them. Every employer must access to hire them. That will be the control enough. Do you see the savings in effort? Do you see that we have pointed another pivot point of effort? Do you understand what they're saying? They're saying don't trade this failure top bureaucrat for that failure top bureaucrat. You fire them because they failed as a bureaucrat because they're the top bureaucrat, not qualified. Put that on their Social Security number, and you'd find a second bureaucracy who hires them and they fail in the second one. They'll never get hired in any major position again because the people that are running the business are going to say, look, they already failed twice, what's the matter with you? Don't hire them. That's a pivot point. I mean, you could do 100 other things and they wouldn't work. You do that one thing and it will work, and we'll get rid of those top bureaucrats and find somebody that can do that's qualified. They go on and say, first lay out the goals step by step. Remember, they said, tell the bureaucracy what you want it to do, step by step. Then let the bureaucracy have at it. If they fail some, cut some. If they fail greatly, cut greatly. A few years of that, and you will control all bureaucracies that now hold you hostage. Can it be that easy? Almost. Almost. There is one thing. Those that run a bureaucracy know how to hide the decision-making process. John, and you understand what they're saying? I mean, have we seen the top people blame somebody below them so that they didn't get cut? So that's a concept, and for sure it's been used, and they're saying, that's a problem. So they go on and say, this hiding of who truly makes the decision causes all manner of problems that could be easily solved. If you have the authority to command, you also have the responsibility, the consequence of that command. Those are required to follow your orders, to follow the orders of a person in position of higher authority. They can't be held responsible for those orders or the result of those orders if they are doing their job. They can't be held responsible for the lack of appropriate protests of those orders. They can't be held responsible for the lack of an appropriate protest to those orders, but the responsibility for the orders must fall on the person in authority. Thus, the need is a bureaucratic law which requires those who set policy to give the order to record the same in written form, signed and disseminated. If you're going to set the policy or give the order, you do it with the paperwork. The person underneath you signs it, and you pass it to everybody that's directly underneath you. Those who are at the first level below the orders that are given must sign the order, and then they also have a place there to protest the order or policy. Now, that's something brand new, but think of the concept. You have a person who's making a decision, who's above you, and he says, I want you to do this, and you say, okay, and sign it, and that tells whoever would investigate that you were ordered to do it and you had to comply. And then on top of that, there's a place underneath it to say, this is not a good thing, I don't want to do it, or maybe you'll just say no. And it's in writing, and it can be investigated. So with this new law, any bureaucracy that's giving any kind of order has to do it in writing, and it has to be signed by those below. Can you see what's going to happen? Can you see the change that'll happen immediately and we're talking about accountability. With that law, all decisions may be traced and an accounting or accountability be made. Can you imagine how much difference a bureaucracy would be if that law were enforced now? Can you imagine how much different a government would be if that law were enforced now?